All right, I think I'm live. Good evening, good evening, good evening. If you happen to bump in here and see me, hi. Good evening. My name is Maribel Chima. This is one of those impromptus. This is one of those impromptu videos or live sessions that you just decide to pop in and say what's up and share one or two nuggets, and all that. So how have you all been doing? It's a new week. I hope you started off okay. All right. So yes, mentor parents. That's what we're talking about. I'll be on your screen for just about 5 minutes and I'll run away. We're talking about mentor parents, how to support your child to find purpose. This is what I am about, right? You know that by now. I'm about support, support, support. I am my child and your child's number one cheerleader. So that is why I'm always here, right? Because I'm your child's number one cheerleader. That is why I am always here to remind you that you need to cheer that child on. I'm always here to remind you that your child depends on you. The child depends on you. So the other day, in fact, on Friday, I was in school to drop my son off at school. Okay, so I dropped him off at school. We read a book on our way to school. So we had finished reading, the passage that we wanted to read, and we were talking about it. So when we got to school, we had not finished. So he stayed on in the car, and we chatted for a few more minutes before, he went off. So he left, and just before I drove off, there was this dad that dropped his son off in school. His school has both the elementary and the secondary session, right? So primary and secondary school. So I think the boy is in secondary school. Yes, should be say in year 8, or I think he should be in year 7 or year 8, but looks more like a year 8 child. So he gets off the car, and then he was standing right in front of my car trying to like cross off, to get into school. And there was another car that came in at that point. So he stopped and was waiting for the car. At that point, his dad actually went down and said to him, "Fine boy." As it was for me, it was such a heartwarming, scene. In fact, the dad actually called out. He called out to him and said, "Fine boy, fine boy." And then the boy turned and smiled. And then his father said, "Go smash it." As in, it was everything to me, And he just, just the way it came out, it was like, "Fine boy." The boy didn't hear at first. And then he goes, "Fine boy." And the boy started smiling even before he turned up to look at his dad. And so when he turned up to look at his dad went, "Go smash your day, fine boy." And the boy started laughing and then crossed up and went into school. Now it's meant so much to me, and made such an impression, to me, because a lot of times it is women that you see, affirm children like this, okay, or do a lot of playful things like this with children. I'm not saying there are dads who don't do it, but it's really not very common around here. So when you see it, it's really, when you see it, it's really heartwarming. But at that point, a few things went through my mind. Like, okay, I could just imagine the relationship that boy has with his father straight up. Okay, the relationship between that father and his son, straight up, I could just create a picture in my head of what that relationship is like. Okay, now that's a boy walking into school, and that's his father cracking like that with him. So hey, that child is getting into school that day on a very light and a very happy, footing or mood and all that. So he gets seen laughing, happy. I mean, chances are that child will not get into his classroom grumpy, okay, as opposed to a child that's probably been nagged, or a child that has probably been yelled at or whatever, but basically these are the things that were running through my mind basically. And then apart from that, imagine how such a child would want to really smash, right? Want to really smash because his father actually said to him, go smash it. Like his father actually ushered him into the day, like his father motivated him and said, go do it. So it's something, and it's rich, and it was huge for me. It actually left a smile on my own face even as I drove off, right? So yes, and this is what this is like some of the things that we have shared in the book Mentor Parents: How to Support Your Child to Find Purpose. Okay, so I have told stories upon stories about how we have supported our children, okay, about how we've supported our children, about how children should be supported, about how children should be enabled, how children should be empowered. As parents, a lot of the times we feel at home there is always food for them to eat. There's a driver to take them around. There's a cook or a chef to make sure the food is available. And then of course these days there are multiple house helps, right? So these days there are multiple, whatever you want to call them, nannies, house help, whatever, domestic staff. Basically the house is loaded with domestic staff. And because we have this in place, for some of us as parents, we think we have provided all that our children need. And then of course you have them in the best schools. You provide and you pay their school fees. You don't delay. In fact, some of us even brag about it. We don't owe the schools. We pay the school fees as I went due and all of that. So we do all of these so that our children don't get embarrassed and all that and all that. And we do all this and we forget, the most important thing, which is connecting with your children, the most important thing, which is supporting your children and supporting them in an empowering way. Okay, so I have talked about this a lot in the book. Okay, I've given endless ideas on how you can support your children through stories, through real life situations, okay, through real life happenings. And I have not just gone ahead. This book is not just that instructional material where you just open and say, oh, dear parents, you're not doing this, do this. No, this book is a book that has, it's a book full of stories, like personal stories. And they're stories of, these personal stories are stories of our process, stories of mistakes, right? Mistakes, failures, wins, and all of that. So there are stories that you can relate to, stories that are relatable. All right, so these are the kind of stories you have in this book. So I've been sharing quotes from the book in the last couple of days, okay, or weeks now, or a week or thereabouts. I've been sharing quotes from the book, okay. So today I'm going to share one more quote, okay, and the quote is this: don't worry that your children never listen, okay, worry rather that they are watching you. All right, so you should be more concerned, right, that your children are watching you. So when as parents we lose our temper, because when you speak to parents about these things, people, they tell you how the children get on your nerves, right? That's what we say as parents. We talk about how the children get on our nerve. These children, they can really stretch you. These children, they have it coming, and sometimes you have to really give it to them and all of that. But remember while you're doing this, that the child is the child and the child is playing the part of the child. And then the question you need to ask yourself is, are you playing the role of a parent, or are you playing the role of the adult? So if the child is being a child, because that's what a child is. Even the scripture says that the heart of a child is full of folly, isn't it? It is we as parents that will guide the children to know better, to do better, and to act better. And this is done through, assist. This is done through support. Okay, when we support our children, when we support our children, and we're there to see the things, the skills that they don't have in place, because a lot of times when our children act negatively, or when they do things, others negative, when they put out negative behavior, it is because they do not have the skills to act differently, or they do not have the skills to act positively, basically. So at that point, it becomes your responsibility to serve them, or to teach them, or help them achieve that skill. So every time that your child puts out a negative behavior, it's because the child does not have another behavior to replace that negative behavior. I know you will say to me, oh, but how about the time that you've corrected them over and over again? It's because habits takes time. Okay, it takes time for habits to become rooted. So while your child, while you have introduced the skill to replace the ignorance that the child has in that area, it could take some time before the child imbibes, or it will take some time before the child internalizes that, that new behavior. Now, that's the real challenge in parenting. Being able to hang in there, and while you're there, being mindful while you're there, helping the child to get the hang of that skill. So mindfulness comes in. Being able to calm yourself as a parent. Okay, being able to calm yourself as a parent. It was when Diologe that said, you should be able to bring customer service home, isn't it? You should be able to bring customer service home as a professional, right? As a professional, okay, or as a business person, okay? In your business, you don't flip every time, your clients or your customers, right, are not acting right, or every time they're not doing right by you. You don't flip. Okay, your customer service. So why won't we apply the same thing with our children? So the moment you understand that, parenting is such that you should bring customer service home, be able to stay patient with your children and apply skills with them just as you do with your customer, then you will find out that you will start having an easy kind of parenting in your home, and everyone is going to be better for it. Your children at that point will begin to see more of what you do and imbibe more of what you do. As I said, the quote says, don't worry about what your children don't hear or that they're not listening. Worry more about what they are seeing. So the moment you become mindful as a parent, the moment you bring customer service home and you begin to treat your children like the customer, right? And you become patient with them as you would be with outsiders and customers. At that point, as a parent, you will realize you have peace, and then your children will begin to act better. All right, people. So that is it. So at the end of this video, go ahead and order a copy of this book. It's a must have. It's a must have. And the good part is you have the 2 books pack. My son has written his first decade experience. Amazing book he has put together. You can get these 2 books, these 2 books for 4,500 naira instead of 6,500 naira. In a couple of weeks, that pre-order will be over and you can't get it for 4,500 naira anymore. So if I were you, I'll order my copy today. All right, people. So thank you very much. I can't see any comments. If you're catching this, once you order the book, you will have the link in the corner link, or just pay directly into our account here with me. Lovely evening. Bye.